Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Group 1, JAC2208C. And today, we will discuss about the issues for Shariah audit. Before we go to the introduction, I will introduce our group members. Our group members consist of 5 members, which are Nur Ain Syafiqah binti Sulaiman, Nur Ardana binti Nordin, Nur Najwa Awatif binti Yusri, Asma Syafiqah binti Omar, and myself, Sarah Najiha binti Ijalil.
My name is Nur Ardana binti Nordin. So the definition of Sharia audit can be categorized into 3, which is Bank Negara Malaysia, Islamic Financial Service Board, and also Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions. For Bank Negara Malaysia, Sharia audit is graded evolution to ensure sound and efficient internal control system for Sharia compliance will add value and improve Islamic financial institution compliance. This evolution will provide independent assessment objective assurance. For Islamic Financial Service Board, Sharia audit is ISRE, which is the Internal Sharia Review or Audit Unit, was established to confirm Sharia compliance. For Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, Sharia audit is expression of opinion and regarding financial statement that must be presented in all material aspects in accordance with the SSB's fatwa, rulings and guidelines, the Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institution Accounting Standard, National Accounting Standard and Practice, and also applicable laws and regulations in the nation. Next is scope of Sharia audit. For Bank Negara Malaysia, the scope is audit of Islamic financial institutions, financial statements, organizational structure, employee composition, and IT application system compliance audit. And last, to ensure that the Sharia governance system is effective. For Islamic Financial Service Board, ISRU will examine the goods and services to determine whether they comply with the guidelines of Sharia board. And lastly, is for Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions. The Sharia audit issues include internal procedure, personal, financial, and non-financial performance, financial institutions, information and IT systems, marketing, and other significant Sharia-related issues in addition to the financial statement. The function of Sharia audit. There are a lot of functions, but I can mention the important one. For Bank Negara Malaysia, to add value and improve Islamic financial institutions compliance in ensuring sound and effective internal control system for Sharia compliance, provide independent assessment and objective assurance that include assess efficiency and effectiveness of internal control system, assess compliance to guidelines set by regulator, assess compliance to internal policies and procedures. For Islamic Financial Service Board, the function of Sharia audit is to keep track and report of any incident of non-compliance, to address and prevent any non-compliance related behavior, to encourage or advise management to confront and resolve any problem with adherence to Sharia. For Accounting and Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, there is 5 functions, which is internal control review into the internal audit, to review of the audit plan and accounting procedure, to review of the financial report and interim and annual accounts, including any issues found during the audit, to make sure the Islamic financial institution comply by the Code of Ethics for Accountants and Auditors of Islamic Financial Institutions issued by the Accounting Auditing Organization for Islamic Financial Institutions, and lastly, to examine whether the regulations and principles of Sharia are being followed. Next is differences between conventional audit and Sharia audit. For subject matter of audit, for conventional audit is a financial standard assertion or an assessment of the accuracy and fairness of a company's financial statement. For Sharia audits, in addition to financial statement, there are other kinds of assertion that could be stated on contract, system, process, transaction flows, people, and also performance. For the criteria basis, for conventional audit, it can be from International Financial Reporting Standard and IAS, broadly any set of generally accepted accounting principles (GAAP). For Sharia audit, It based on the Shariah principle and ruling, Islamic finance standards, and such IFRS and other JAP that don't constitute any Shariah issues. For sufficient evidence, for conventional audit, evidence can be collected that was formally collected through several rounds of observation, sampling, and document verification, while Sharia audit is Sharia ruling issued by fiqh academies and by Sharia Supervision Board SSBs in addition to any other conventional evidence. For involved parties, for conventional audit, it can be firm, auditors, and users, while Sharia audit, which is organization, auditors, and a larger user base. And lastly, for written assurance report. For conventional audit, it's auditor's report. But for Sharia audit, it's more comprehensive report, which is auditors and Sharia audit.
Thanks, Yana. I'm Asma Shafika, and now let's proceed with Sharia governance framework. Sharia governance is not the new term, yet it is not familiar with the whole process and the framework is. So, for definition, according to IFSD Standard 10, Sharia governance system refers to the set of institutional and organizational arrangement through which an IIFS ensures that there is effective independent oversight of Sharia compliance. In the framework that BSN provides, Sharia governance is vital to the stability of the Islamic financial system. So with this framework, it can gain public trust in honesty and competency. Now, let's move to the objective of Sharia governance framework. Sharia governance framework has been introduced in 2011 and it is for specific objectives, which are: first, to specify the guidelines, requirements, and processes for creating a Sharia committee for the purpose and the range of its responsibilities and the relationship between institutional Sharia committee and the SAC of the central bank. So the second one is to enhance public trust in the management, integrity, and business practices of Islamic financial institutions. For your information, SAC stands for Sharia Advisory Council. As you can see here, there are a chart that shows the overview of Sharia governance framework. The general requirement of Sharia governance framework, which it outlines the needs for an organization to identify the primary responsibilities or duties of each employee in order to improve the efficacy of the framework, such as outlining the organization, reporting structure, and other requirements. In this chart, there are 7 elements that are important in Sharia governance. So first is Sharia Board, the board that is in charge of overseeing all facets of Sharia compliance in Islamic banking activities as well as Sharia structure. So next is Sharia Committee, the committee that needs members who are qualified to handle any Islamic financial problem that may occur in the organization. The third one is the effective management, whom will be in charge of making sure that everything is done correctly to facilitate commercial operations to adhere to Sharia compliance. Then, we have Sharia risk management that oversees the function in charge of determining, evaluating, monitoring, managing, and reporting any potential danger of non-compliance with Sharia. And there are 3 functions, which are Sharia review, Sharia audit, and Sharia research. Sharia review function need regularly assess for Sharia compliance. And as for Sharia audit, it needs to conduct an independent investigation to guarantee that current business operations adhere to Sharia. And the last one is Sharia research. Sharia research, it needs to be conduct thorough study with an accurate submission of Sharia compliance. So that is for overview of Sharia governance framework. And now, for further discussion about the issues, I will pass to the next presenter, Sarah.
Next, we will discuss about the issues and challenges in Shariah audit. First issue is based on the article Shariah Audit for Islamic Financial Institution, Issues and Challenges. This issue is by Wan Shazlinda Shah. Okay, the current issues found on the article is about the qualification of Shariah auditor. The article stated that the Shariah auditors are expected to fulfill the requirements and needs of the Islamic society who is searching for ethical and compliance product and service in the industry. It further stated in the article that the Shariah audit can be performed by the internal auditors who have adequate Shariah-related knowledge, skills, and Shariah auditors are expected to have knowledge in both Shariah and accounting field. So, however, Shariah auditors who qualified in both Shariah and accounting is only 5.9%, while for those Shariah auditors who practice Shariah auditing in Islamic financial institution in Malaysia is 96%. It shows that there is lack of Shariah auditors who have both qualifications, which is especially important in determining the vision and mission of Islamic ruling within the Islamic financial institution. So, with this regard, the call to fulfilling this gap has gained the attention from the tertiary education level, in which the university took the responsibility in producing graduates which equipped with the comprehensive knowledge in Shariah audit. In Malaysia, there are only few local universities that offer Shariah audit, such as Islamic International University and Selangor International Islamic University College. So, nevertheless, only one local university is offering course specialized in Shariah audit, known as Master of Accounting and Shariah Audit, which is offered by Islamic Science University of Malaysia. But still, in terms of professional training level is also scarce, since there are only a few local training agencies that provide professional certificate to the Shariah audit practitioners with regards to Shariah audit, such as Institute of Banking and Finance Institution, International Center for Education in Islamic Finance, and Center for Research and Training. That's all for me.
Hi, my name is Nur Shafika. I will continue this presentation with the second issue that concerns about Sharia practitioner independence and accountability. According to the article enhancing Sharia audit practice in Islamic financial institutions in Malaysia, despite the accounting crisis, Islamic financial institutions face another difficulty in terms of Sharia audit to ensure the IFI are complying with the Sharia guideline and to perceive future trust and growth in the Islamic finance industry. Sharia audit practitioners are expected to meet the demands of stakeholders whose goals and focus differ from those of other world's perspective. Sharia auditing practitioners or IFI, like any other organization, appear to be held accountable not just for how allocated funds are used, but also for the financial accounts visibility. As per Yaacob and Dongla, Sharia auditor must have knowledge, competency, and independence to carry out the audit. They must have a knowledge in accounting, finance, auditing, and Sharia, and also speak. Inadequate Sharia audit practitioner with both certification may have indirect impact on the expansion of Sharia audit and the Islamic finance business itself. As a result, the IFI may be unable to determine the vision and goal of Islam. Okay, first and foremost, the emphasis is on the lack of independent in Sharia auditing practitioner. It is one of the most pressing concerns in Sharia auditing. To acquire the trust of the stakeholder, independent Sharia auditors should be able to argue that there are no risks to their independence. This is because the stakeholder or IFI see auditors having integrity based on their perceived independence in appearance and action. It also advised that Sharia auditor be independent enough to provide an opinion on whether the IFI are operating in accordance with Sharia auditing. According to one research, there is a major conflict of interest between the need of the independence in Sharia auditing and the necessity to be compensated for one's services in accordance with the standard of the institution to which one is attached. As a result, it is important for IFI to guarantee that their activity and operation are Sharia compliant in order to reduce the Sharia non-compliant risk, which has potential to have serious implications and potential affect their image by putting the whole Islamic finance industry at a risk. Okay, now we proceed with the lack of accountability of Sharia practitioners. In terms of independence, the concern is evaluating the independence of Sharia auditor in IFI. Accounting Standard and Practice Authority have taken substantial action on this issue in order to guarantee that Sharia auditors are held accountable for carrying out their roles of fairly expressing their judgment on whether financial statements are prepared in compliance with the Sharia principle. Sharia auditor duties are perceived to be confined to the preparations of financial report rather than affecting the decision-making process of IFI as the Board of Directors makes the final decision. Since the Board of Directors has a larger potential for making crucial decisions, the Sharia auditor limits in influencing board's decision in the case of the lack of accountability. By right, the Sharia auditor should have been held more accountable as they are responsible to all stakeholders, including the shareholder, society, and the Ummah. As on the other hand, will investigate if there is possible that the client was already informed verbally by the officer at the account opening before deciding to regard it is an audit finding. As a result, there is need for practitioners, particularly Sharia auditor, to acquire such training to fill the gap of the lack of independence and accountability in Sharia audit.
Now we're already at the last part, the last issue, external Sharia audit services from practitioners' view, the case of Malaysian Islamic banks. So from the article, it is highlighted on the importance of external Sharia audit practices, which is to ensure that all Malaysian Islamic banks being a fully Sharia compliant. And then the highlighted issue is regarding the practicality and the probability to hire external Sharia audit services in audit profession for Malaysia's Islamic banking industry as part of Sharia governance mechanism. So from the ESA services, the auditor will provide an opinion whether the activities, operations in the bank be implemented according to Sharia principle and follow the resolutions specifically made by the AC or Sharia committee. So from the interview session conducted, there are some of the practitioners that support the ESA services and some of them against the ESA services. So for the reasons, for those that support the ESA services, they stated that it is to ensure the quality assurance of ISA, which is internal Sharia audit, and then ESA is more independent than ISA, and then there is sharing of knowledge and experience from the other banks, and then ESA serves as a check and balance mechanism. While for those who are against the ESA services, stated that ESA services may cause high costs, which is maybe exceeded the benefit that will be given by ESA, and then there will be different method will be applied for the ESA services, and there is a different interpretation for Sharia non-compliant risk measurement, and then there is a concern on the risk of information confidentiality informations of the bank to the other bank. So from that, from the article, so we conclude that the regulators have to increase awareness on the importance of ESA and then train both professional accountants and experts in Sharia, which is to create and to provide an effective external Sharia audit services in Malaysia, specifically for Islamic banking industry.
Okay, for conclusion, in order to encourage transparency, comparability of Sharia governance, and ensure system in various countries, it is crucial to Islamic financial institutions to have a well-planned and implemented Sharia audit function. To ensure that Sharia is always upheld, It is crucial to create a true, reliable, and effective Sharia control governance. To minimize the gap and assess the challenge involved in carrying out the Sharia audit, it is crucial to notice that the process of Islamic financial institutions and the practice of Sharia audit are clearly identified. That's all from us. Thank you.